Hi, there. I'm Akira Nakano, a non-fiction writer in Japan. Today I would like to talk about Apple Computer's Macintosh from my previously published book, 250 Years of Information Technology. The Macintosh is the root of today's iMac. If we trace the Macintosh further back in time, we come to an interesting character. Is it Steve Jobs? He is, of course, closely related, but he was a much older man. His name is Vannevar Busch. Vannevar Busch was an electrical engineer born in the United States in 1890. During the Pacific War, he served as director of the Scientific Research and Development Agency, which promoted advanced weapons development, and directed more than 6,000 scientists. In 1945, Busch, looking ahead to the post-war period, proposed the development of a device to amplify human intelligence, as a research theme other than military applications, for post-war scientists to work on. Busch published the article in the July issue of Atlantic Monthly and then in the September 10th issue of Time magazine. The title of the paper is, As We May Think. In the paper, Busch names the device that amplifies human intelligence Memex, and provides an illustrated overview of it. Busch describes Memex as a mechanized device that allows individuals to store their books, memories, letters and retrieve them with considerable speed and flexibility. It resembles a desk in an office, with two screens attached to the top at an angle. We can easily search for a vast amount of material, and project the results on the screen to the left. The screen on the right side, we can use it to take notes by running a pen across it. Of course, we can save these notes and memos and view later. We can link items in one document to items in another document, and once joined, we can easily move from one document to the linked document with a simple operation. Busch called this feature associative indexing. Also, future researchers will wear a walnut-sized camera on their foreheads and shutter it to see what is worth recording, Busch said. The image at the top of the paper depicts just that. In addition, Busch predicts that we will eventually be able to operate Memex remotely, although for the time being it will be an office fixture. Thus, you can see that what Busch envisioned was what we would call a personal computer today. Its development is essential for post-war researchers, and this is how Busch advocated it. Incidentally, Memex is named after human memory and mimic. The spirit of Memex, which aims to amplify human intelligence, has since been passed down through the generations to the present day. There were two main routes. One route was through research institutes, and the other was the grassroots route. Eventually, these two routes merged into one. One of the key figures in the first route is Douglas Engelbart. Engelbart was on the island of Leyte, at the end of World War II. One day while waiting for a ship to return home, he happened to come across the September 10th, 1945 issue of Life magazine. He was so impressed by Busch's paper, that he decided to develop Memex himself. Upon returning to the US, Engelbart took a position at the Stanford Research Institute. He develops a modern version of Memex online system, NLS for short. The NLS had a bitmap display, GUI, mouse, multiple windows, and other operating environments present in modern computers. Engelbart also implemented Busch's envisioned, associative indexing, functionality in the NLS. He called this feature hypertext. This is the feature that leads to the web today. Then, in 1968, already 23 years after Busch's paper, Engelbart surprised people at a computer conference in San Francisco by giving a big demonstration of the NLS. Among the many visitors was a graduate student from the University of Utah. Alan Kay was that person. Kay himself has already read As We May Think, and is impressed with Engelbart's demonstration. After graduating school, Kay took a position at Xerox Palo Alto Research Center, where he conceived of the Dynabook, an intelligent amplification device more advanced than Memex or NLS. The Dynabook is a notebook-sized personal device that takes its name from a dynamic book. Kay illustrates to children, a boy and a girl, using a Dynabook. What will surprise many is that Kay's envisioned Dynabook closely resembles modern tablets. The device can store thousands of pages of reference materials, records, drawings, animations, scores, sounds, and dynamic simulations, which we can retrieve later, Kay explains. Aside from its notebook-size form, the functionality of the Dynabook as envisioned by Kay is very similar to the Memex dreamed up by Busch. Further building on the Dynabook concept, Kay developed a computer called the Alto. This was in 1973. The prototype of the Dynabook, the Alto, was not handheld. The main unit is about the size of a small refrigerator and comes with a vertical, high-resolution monitor with bitmap, keyboard, and mouse. Kay also realized so-called Visiwig. What you see is what you get. Alto was distributed as a product, so Memex was no longer a pipe dream, but something that people could afford. Apart from research institutes, grassroots roots also led to the development of devices to amplify human intelligence. The Altair 8800 was a landmark in this field. The Altair was a microcomputer kit marketed by MITS, Inc. in 1974, and was equipped with Intel's latest MPU, the 8080. There is no keyboard or monitor on the Altair. We enter programs and data using 16 switches on the front of the enclosure. The price of the kit was $397, and the finished product cost $498. The present value was approximately $1,000. Altair was an expensive toy. However, when an article about the Altair appeared in the January 1975 issue of Popular Electronics magazine, it became a big hit among electronics enthusiasts, and 4,000 Altair units were sold in 3 months. You never know what will happen in this world. Two men who had a big impact on the January 1975 issue of Popular Electronics magazine was none other than Bill Gates and Paul Allen, who would go on to found Microsoft Corporation. They concluded that developing a basic programming language compatible with the Altair 8800 could be a viable business opportunity. In April 1975, they founded Microsoft Corporation, which also developed and successfully marketed BASIC. The company would go on to become the #1 company in the personal computer software market. Meanwhile, in Silicon Valley at the time, there was a homebrew computer club formed by electronics professionals and enthusiasts. In March 1975, there was a demonstration of the Altair at this club. The demonstration attracted about 30 enthusiasts, among them Stephen Wozniak, who works for Hewlett-Packard. After seeing a demonstration, Wozniak thought that he could make a computer with a monitor and keyboard by using the circuit board of the Altair. Wozniak set about developing his own computer. In June of the same year, he completed his handmade computer. In his autobiography, Wozniak wrote that he was amazed at the letters on the screen as soon as he typed on the keyboard.
Hello, world.
Steve Jobs was also astonished to see Woz's handmade computer. Jobs decided to manufacture and sell this computer in his garage. Thus, in April 1976, Jobs and Wozniak entered into a partnership agreement, and Apple Computer was born. Just 1 year after Microsoft was founded, Jobs and Wozniak introduced the Apple I to the market in the summer of 1976. Only the base was sold, the case had to be made by the customer. The following year, they introduced its successor, the Apple II. At that time, in addition to Altair and Apple, personal computers such as Tanda's Radio Shack TRS-80, Commodore's PET were appearing one after another. Then, in 1981, IBM introduced the IBM PC. However, all of them adopted CUI, a command-oriented operating environment. This made it a difficult device to use for those who were not familiar with it. The turning point came in 1979. In December of that year, Jobs visited Park and saw a demonstration of Alto. Jobs was so impressed with the bitmap and GUI used in Alto that he decided to incorporate these features into his next machine. Then, in 1984, he introduced the Macintosh. This was a PC with a black and white 9-inch bitmap monitor and a GUI operating system. Thus, the Memex envisioned by Vanever Busch blossomed as Alto via the Research Institute's route. Meanwhile, the development of a device to amplify human intelligence also progressed at the grassroots, and it blossomed as Altair 8800. The Altair was the catalyst that led to the formation of Microsoft Corporation, which in turn led to Jobs and Wozniak's introduction of the Apple I to the market. Jobs was also impressed by the operating environment of the Alto, and he poured his ideas into the Macintosh. This is where the intelligence amplifier that originated with Busch's Memex followed the Research Institute's route, and the grassroots route, and the two routes merged in the Macintosh. The OS installed on the Macintosh is the root of the current MacOS, and the author is writing this manuscript now in front of the OS. I can feel Busch's face on the iMac screen in front of me.